Hey gang, Redbeard here. You might be wondering why I'm a little crooked. It's because I'm in outer space. I created the space station PvP, and I'm going to show you how to do the same thing. But stick around because this is a whole series of videos where our first one will teach you how to plan for the build, how to build the room, how to do the circuits, and then how to publish the room and then get a bunch of people to come in and play. This will be a template room, so you can go ahead and grab any circuits you want or the whole thing and remix it, whatever you'd like to do. Alright, let's do a quick tour of the PvP, and then we'll go create something cool. Alright gang, so the first thing you want to do when you're building a room is start planning it. And what I have here is a table with markers and an eraser, and then I've got whiteboards for each stage of the plan. So I'm going to go through each one of those with you, and then I'm going to show you some example maps that I built to kind of get the idea about what I wanted to build. Alright, let's check it out. So the first thing I did is I thought, well, I want to make a PvP, and I'm going to write these on the board, that way if I have someone come help me, they know what I'm planning to do, and then we can stay focused. So let's put PvP here. Now this could be hangout, this could be quest, this could be experimental, this could be art, whatever you want to put on here. That way, again, like I said, it's just so people know what you're working on. So then I started to think about what sort of PvPs do people want to play, and what makes a good PvP map. One thing that I know is you should have bases, you're going to want some sort of goal in the game. Do you want it 1v1, 4v4, anything like that? So what I wanted to do is just write that down. So I'm going to put a minimum of 1v1. Minimum of 1v1. And then I wanted multiple levels. Multi-level. By multi-level, what I mean is more than one floor, not necessarily sub-rooms, because PvPs with sub-rooms doesn't really work too well. But if you want to try one, by all means go try it. I think you could do some cool things. But traditionally it's just one room. So multi-level is multiple floors. And then I wanted to have things like doors, really cool lights, maybe an elevator, maybe some fancy weapons, things like that. So this is where you would start to list those things. The reason you want to list what you're doing for planning is it's something you can come back to. Maybe you wrote some things down that you're not going to do, but it's a good place to kind of leave it just to show your thinking. And it might spark something down the road when you're building things. So one of the other things you want to think about is the theme of your PvP. Do you want it in outer space, which is what we ended up with? Do you want it in, maybe it's at a racetrack? Maybe you want it in a big field, like at a farm or something. So what you want to do is write those down. And so what I did is I wrote shipping yard. If I can write shipping yard. We'll put space up here just so we see that We were thinking about it. Just something creative. And then the last thing was just kind of a futuristic-y sort of building of sorts. Future building. There we go. That's close. So now that I have these ideas out and some of the goals that I wanted to do for the PvP, now I can step back and really think about what does this all mean? How can I use as many of the things possible in one room? And so I started to build models. And the reason for that was to say, what does the play space look like? What does it feel like to kind of run around it in different levels? And make sure that those ideas would work out really well once it's really, really, really big. Oh, one thing that most PvP should have is what game creators call a choke point. Now this is a big one. One way to think about a choke point is this is a point on your map. Sometimes it's a physical space that everybody needs to go to. It could also be sort of a concept-y, like I want everybody to go over here, but I want everybody to do this thing. So a choke point is sort of the driver for everybody, and you can do that in several ways. We see it with microphones on the map, we see it with one big gun on the map, but we also see maps that are push the players to the same space, and what it does is it causes that conflict that you want in a PvP. So we're going to look at choke point a couple times throughout this video series. So this is a model I built. This is sort of that futuristic building that I was going for, and I built it really small, and I'll show you why I did that in a minute, and we'll also look at how you can use that to your advantage when building a little bit quicker. So the reason for this model, or the layout I should say, has one big play space, another big play space, and then a bunch of hallways. And what I wanted was my choke point to be right in the middle, and what that'll do is force players to fight it out in small tight-knit spaces or big wide open areas. And inside this space was going to be a mic. So everybody wants to come in here and talk in the mic. So now let's go look at, I've got 3 more to show you, so let's look at those real quick as well. Okay, so this is actually one of my favorite ones, and I'm thinking to actually make this into a game eventually, as soon as I finish Space Station. But the idea with this is it was a really wide open map, no walls, nothing to kind of block your view. You could get some cool shots going all the way across the map. But what I did with this one is, here's the choke point. These are going to be climbing walls, and there'll be something at the top that the other team has to get and then bring back to their base. Basically like a capture the flag. And the idea here is that this will become a building, and this will become a building, and then I've got these secret little rooms underneath in all 4 corners that has a special weapon to help them win. So this is another one that I really, really like. I think the details would look super cool. This is a shipping yard. Essentially, you've got these canisters that are big shipping containers that you can run around and you can run in. And then you've got a base on either side that has an elevator and some doors, a nice hallway under here. And then this thing here was going to kind of move around as if it's being moved around the shipping yard. I would knock this wall down and put a big ocean and maybe a big shipping ship out there. So that would give this kind of a fun back and forth. The problem is what I didn't have was a choke point. There was no reason for blue to go over there or red to come over here. Sure, I could stick a mic in the middle or some sort of flag that you got to keep, like a capture the flag sort of situation. But it just didn't really work out for a PvP. But the idea is that I built it really small, and then I was able to stand in here with a few friends and really think through what the gameplay would be. So by building it like this, I'm able to learn very quickly without doing a full-size map if something like this is going to work. Alright, so this is the model I built that we eventually created Space Station PvP out of. It's not an exact 1-to-1 ratio, and you'll see how that played out in the next coming videos for building things. But the idea was, can I play in this space, in outer space, and make it work in a really compelling way? I brought some friends in, and we were able to look around, play around, sort of scale down and see if that was going to work, and it was an instant hit. So I knew right away I didn't need to do a regular building, I didn't need to do just something sort of random and creative, or even the shipping container that wasn't going to work. I was on to something with this. So that's what you want to do when you're planning. Write down what you want, make models of what you'd like to do, invite some people in, and see which one's going to work best. So that's the basics for planning for a PvP. We came up with some ideas of things we wanted to have in the PvP, and then we came up with some themes, and then we built scale models of those. When we go into the build video, which will be coming soon, you'll actually see me build the model at a scale size and then move it up to the full size after I get it all laid out. Trust me, that's really, really cool when you see it work. Okay, so stay tuned and hang out with us and learn how to build your PvP. Alright gang, you're already following us on YouTube, watching our sweet videos. You can find us on Instagram as well. Look up instagram.com/recroom or just find our @recroom and follow along.